Builders across America, and especially right here in Utah, are dumping their inventory in anticipation of lower sales and possibly lower prices going into 2023. I've seen a lot of reports lately saying that, hey, prices are going down, and we are seeing that here in Utah, but there's still some markets where prices are actually remaining the same or going up. However, one thing is definitely true when it comes to builders here in Utah, they are dropping their prices and they are getting a little bit worried because they're sitting on more and more inventory and homes are not selling as quickly as they have been. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what's happening and also how you can get a good deal if you're looking at purchasing new construction. What's up, you guys? It's Cody Steck, your favorite Utah realtor. So like I said, builders are dropping prices on their inventory to go ahead and move these homes. They're anticipating that sales are going to continue to fall going into the end of the year and into 2023, and that prices and sales will be down in 2023. As far as what's going to happen in 2024, nobody really has a great idea. That's still yet to be seen. There's a lot of turmoil out there. There's a lot of variables when it comes to that. But right now we're just looking, let's say 6 to 12 months out. The thing that you really have to think about when it comes to this specific scenario is that builders are already overpriced to begin with. When you go out there and you want to build a new construction home, you're going to be paying at least a 5 to 10% premium for that new home compared to what you would be able to get if you went out there and bought a home that's already built. That being said, if you built a home in a new neighborhood, as soon as you finish that home, you theoretically lose 5 to 10% of that value because you're not going to be able to sell it as easily. A lot of home buyers will actually see this as a benefit because they go into the new construction sales office and they're going to purchase that new construction home with the chance to upgrade it how they want. They're going to get to choose the carpet, the floors, they're going to choose the cabinets, the colors, the paint colors. They're going to choose what type of door handles they want, what type of windows. I mean, they can basically customize just about everything on some of these higher end homes. So buyers are willing to pay that extra 5 to 10%. Once those buyers disappear though, then the builders start dropping prices, and that's when we see overall home prices drop pretty substantially and quickly on these new homes. So that 5 to 10% premium on those new homes gets wiped out pretty quickly. And now when you factor in that home prices have also dropped across the entire board by about 5 to 6%, depending on what area you're looking in, then that means that builders are actually going to be down 10 to 15% on the inventory that they have. When you look at a home that's priced at, let's say, $700,000 for new construction just a couple months ago, that home could now be sitting at $650,000, maybe even $600,000 on the price. So that seems like a pretty big hit for a lot of these builders, but you have to keep in mind that these builders bought this land 2, 3, maybe even 4 years ago and have been developing it over that time period. When they purchased that land, they were not expecting the prices to go as crazy as they did over the last 2 years. So even though they're coming down in pricing, they're still going to be profitable in a lot of circumstances. What happened with the COVID boom is that a lot of builders ended up making more profit despite the increase in labor and despite the increase in materials and what those cost. They're still making record profits, and even though prices are now coming down, they're still going to be profitable on these particular homes, assuming that they can actually move them. Now, in order to illustrate this exact example of what I'm talking about, I want to share a story about a client of mine who reached out from watching one of these videos. Now, this is a personal client of mine who is under contract on a home and closing here in a few weeks, and they reached out after having watched one of these videos that I make. So on that note, guys, if you're thinking about buying or selling real estate, make sure to reach out to me. My information's here on the screen and in the description box below where you can book a call with me. I'd love to chat with you about your goals and how I can help you accomplish those. And if you're looking at new construction, this is also something that you may want to do. So go ahead and reach out to me. So these guys were watching my videos. They actually called me up, said, hey, we already are under contract on a home with a builder, but we're thinking about canceling. Can you walk us through this? We went through all the scenarios and ended up canceling on that contract. And man, are we glad that we did. Now, this was actually back in the summer. It was probably June or July. Actually, it's probably about July timeframe. We ended up canceling on that first contract. They unfortunately lost their deposit, but they were able to avoid locking in on a house that was going to cost them significantly more than it would in today's market. So we went out there in July or August. We actually found another home for them that was going to work better. It had more features, more amenities, more space, and was closer into town for a cheaper price. So we locked in on this house. I want to say that the price was initially at $680,000. And since that time, time, over the last 2 or 3 months, we actually got the price down to $650,000. Now we were able to do this because the builder was starting to drop prices on their other homes, and we felt like, hey, this is something they should do for us as well, because it doesn't make sense for us to pay $680 if other comparable homes are selling for $650, right? So we went through that process about two months ago. We ended up getting that price down to about $650, and then again, just this last week, we were able to get the price down to $590,000. This is because the builder continued to drop prices over these fall months, and we were seeing that other homes that were similar in quality and size were selling in the high 500 range, low 600 range. So for this home being comparable, we went back, negotiated with the builder. At first, they didn't want to come down that low, but we were able to negotiate them and keep working them to get them down to that 590 range. So we were initially at 680, now we're at 590. That's like a 13.5% return or drop from where we initially started. So pretty big drop there. These guys are definitely happy. They're getting in at a lower interest rate because they locked in a couple months ago. So rates were still a little bit lower. Now they're getting a much better price on their home. And I think they're really, really happy about that. So I'm glad to have been a part of that. We are also seeing this with every single builder across the board, whether you're working with Edge Homes, Ivory, DR Horton, Richmond American, Alpine, or any of the other builders. We're seeing them all drop their prices as more and more inventory comes to the market. Hey, before we continue on, I want to tell you about our newsletter. This is something we've been doing for a while now, and I want you to be a part of it. You can find information to sign up for our newsletter down in the description box below. When you sign up, you're going to get a weekly email from us recapping the videos that we released this week, as well as some other news articles that were not quite worthy of an entire video to themselves. And we're also going to include other information about what's going on in Salt Lake, what it's like to work, eat, sleep, live, and play here along the Wasatch Front. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure to go in the description box below, click that link, enter your email, and sign up. Like I said, we're not going to spam you. It's just one email a week to keep you updated on what's happening here in Utah. I'd love to see you be a part of it, and let's get back to the content. So the thing I want to talk about is I want to give you 4 different tips on how you can get a good deal if you're looking at new construction in today's market. So number 1, you want to work with a really good agent who knows this market and knows what's happening. An agent that knows what's happening, such as myself, is going to have a contact with every single builder out there, and they're going to have a pulse on what's happening in the market, which way the prices are trending, who's getting antsy to sell off that new home that they just completed and haven't sold yet. And this is where you're going to be able to find a deal where you can save an extra $10, $15, maybe even $20,000 by locking in on a home that's coming available soon. Now that leads us right into number 2. If you lock in on a home that is coming available or is already finished and built, this is going to allow you to be able to get a better deal on that new home. The builders are much more willing to sell off the home that they already have built at a lower price than the ones that they have coming in maybe 1, 2, 3 months. Now that does mean that you're not going to be able to customize it, of course, because it's already built, but you're going to be able to get a much better deal on it. The builder looks at this and they say, hey, we've been sitting on this home. Nobody's wanted to buy it over the last couple of months. They're much more motivated to sell that home as opposed to the one that still is maybe 2 or 3 months out from completion, because they have additional time on that home to be able to maybe make some last minute changes or customize it to a different buyer's needs and be able to charge a higher price for that. The third thing on our list here is that you want to be able to show a strong qualifying position. When you go into a contract with a builder, they're going to want to know that you can actually afford the house that you're going to purchase. Now, if you're paying cash, they just want to see that you have that cash on hand, or if you're getting a loan, they want to be able to make sure that you qualify for that loan that you're getting on that home. Now, that being said, there's some tactics that you can do. If you agree to maybe put down a larger deposit on that home, they might be willing to give you a bigger price drop. They might be able to give you some other concessions that are going to help with getting you a better deal on that home. So if you can show the builder that you're serious about moving forward and purchasing that home, that's going to get you a better overall deal. Now, the fourth thing I recommend doing is asking for some upgrades along the way. Before you lock in on a price with that new builder, ask for some concessions, right? Maybe ask for them to cover your closing costs. Maybe ask for them to supply some free appliances for you. Generally with new construction, the fridge and the washer and dryer are not included, but this is something you could probably get thrown in fairly easily with a new construction builder. You could also ask for something like landscaping or some fencing to go on the outside. Here in Utah, the builders will typically do the landscaping in the front of the house, but they do not do the landscaping in the back of the house, nor any fencing, unless that fencing is required, right? Because you're up against a street or up against a commercial building or something like that, right? So those fencing, that fencing that's there or the landscaping is not going to be there as part of what the builder normally does, but this is a great opportunity for you to go in there and ask and say, hey, can we get a credit for some fencing? Can we get a credit for some grass or some, landscaping rocks or whatever it might be that you want to do to the home? So let's go in there and negotiate a little bit harder than we usually would with these new construction builders. Now is the time to be able to go in there and take advantage of that. Unfortunately, the way that new construction usually goes is the builder sets the price and you kind of take it or leave it, and there's not a whole lot of negotiating in most cases. However, right now you are able to negotiate some of these additional things. So again, just to recap, number one, work with a great agent such as myself. Number two, find a home that is near completion. This is going to get you the best deal possible. Number three, show a strong qualifying position in order to purchase that home. And number four, ask for upgrades, ask for concessions. This is the most important thing when you go in there and negotiate with a builder. So with that said, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to reach out to me if you want to buy or sell real estate. Maybe you're looking to invest in real estate, or if you're looking at new construction just like this, like we talked about. I have contacts with every single builder out there, and I'd love to help you with this process and be able to negotiate an amazing deal in this crazy market for you personally. So make sure to reach out. My information is here on the screen and in the description box below. And don't forget to share this video with a friend or a family member. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter in the description box down below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.